Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, there's something that is pivotal happens every single year for me in the fall time, and fall is my favorite season. 1, I get to get some delicious food. 2, it's hunting season. And 3, it's beanie life season. I love beanies, hence the look. Hope you enjoy, but we gotta talk about something important. This whole Republican rebellion NDAA thing where they funded the Defense Act and they had gun control provisions in it in the past by Republicans, we got to talk about that because this is an interesting scenario. First of all, I want to say 2 really important things, then we're going to dive into all the articles which are linked in the description box below, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. So, first thing, we are not in a different position than we were January and February of this year. The House is controlled by the far-left Democrats. Nancy Pelosi gets whatever she wants. She calls all the votes. She calls all the shots. It happens. Perfect case in point. H.R. 1, H.R. 8, H.R. 4, H.R. 1446. All of these extreme pieces of legislation that pass the House on a party line vote. This is not the same, but those are examples. Now, this Defense Funding Act actually passed with a lot of Republican support, which brings me to my next point. Republicans need to be held to account for the fact that they voted and included these amendments in a voted bill that went to the Senate. And that next piece is the important piece. Now, before I get there, this is important that we hold everyone's feet to the fire for the decisions that they've made. I don't care if you are one of my favorite Republican senators or you are one of my least favorite Democratic House members. If you do something that we don't agree with as a main group and a Second Amendment advocacy group, you're going to hear about it politely and deliberately. You're going to hear about it. But now we've got to get on to the next piece here. The Senate is where everything is going to go down because, as you guys know, in our legislative process, the House passes a bill, the Senate debates what the House passed, and they send back their own version, and the House debates on that. This process is nowhere near over, so this is not law. But that's where we come in. It's incredibly important to understand that the impact that you guys have had this year alone, when you have no reason to do so, you're taking wins, and they are having L after L after L. H.R. 8 and 1446 never even made it to a floor vote. Chipman, ousted. All of these things you've accomplished while your back's against the wall, that's because you reached out to your senators and your House of Representative members. Continue doing that when this fight starts. That's important because your voice matters tremendously. People are emailing me a lot saying they didn't think their voice did matter, but it does. Get ready because the Senate is where this is going down. Now, let's dive in because we can do this. We do have power and we're going to correct this because we got to. House passed NDAA includes anti-gun provisions. Absolutely does. Very valid. Now, what did they actually put in there? Let's walk through these 2 things. The U.S. House of Representatives recently passed its version of the National Defense Authorization Act, the annual defense bill that directly funds our nation's military. Unfortunately, this year's bill contains 2 anti-gun provisions opposed by the NRA. Well, yeah, because it's red flag laws, but let's dive into what it actually is. The first provision included in the bill by Representative Jackie Speer from California, shocking, would ignore due process protections afforded by the U.S. Constitution and allow for the confiscation of firearms owned by those in the armed forces. That's red flag laws through and through. This is a liberal priority on the gun world. They want red flag laws to take guns without due process, as this article says. This cannot stand. When we contact our senators, this has to be removed before it goes back to the House and another bill. This cannot go forward, and that's also where they're going to run into trouble because the Senate has been the sticking point the whole time. They've got to get more than 50, or at least 50 senators to sign on to this, and they're going to run into the exact same roadblocks. And I don't know how it's going to work out for them, but this has got to be removed because it can be. This is nowhere near over. See the next thing here. The Speer language would allow the military judicial system to issue ex parte protective orders that prohibit firearm possession. In other words, military personnel could be forcibly disarmed of their lawfully possessed firearms before having so much as an opportunity to contest the accusations against them and present evidence in their defense. This would represent a clear denial of constitutional due process protections for those who have sworn an oath to protect and defend our country and the United States Constitution. That's very well written, and this is not acceptable. Flat out, not cold, Republicans. You kind of fell down on this one in the House. The second provision, offered as an amendment by Representative Norma Torres, California, would undo components of 2 export reform regulations crafted by the Trump administration. The regulations were designed to enhance the competitiveness of American companies in the firearms and ammunition sectors, remove burdens for gunsmiths and other small businesses, modernize export controls, and enhance national security. Basically, this is a red tape one. This is going to add time, complication, and fees to the entire system, gumming up the works and getting in the middle of logistics for firearm production. That's what this one is. Now, this one passed on a party line vote. So Republicans actually didn't jump on board with this one that much. The big one here is the red flag law. The big one. This cannot be maintained in this bill, and it probably will be removed in the Senate because it's got to be. But this is where you have to activate. Listen to what the NRA actually said, and this gives you hope as well. Check out what, not just me, what they're saying. Anti-gun provisions like those included in the House passed NDAA are glaring examples of the challenges law-abiding gun owners face with a Nancy Pelosi-led Congress, talking about the extreme bills that just go straight through no matter what. However, the fight is not over, and that's important. It's not over. The U.S. Senate has yet to consider their version of the NDAA, and both chambers will need to iron out any differences between their respective bills before it becomes law. The NRA will continue to fight against the inclusion of these anti-gun provisions in the final bill. And that's the thing. They're making sausage. The first step sucked, and these Republicans need to be held to account for what they've done, because this is not acceptable. And you can let them know. If you know that list, because I know a lot of the lists are out there, you can respectfully include your displeasure. But this is something we're going to jump into the Senate, and we are going to activate, because this cannot be going forward for our heroes of our country. That's what I've got for you tonight. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you tomorrow morning on the Bullet Points. I'm Braden, signing out.